Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to Lofty Questions Tarot. We combine a love of tarot and oracle cards with a desire to understand ourselves better, to sink deeper into self-acceptance, self-respect, and self-love. And we use Lofty Questions as a way to have a unlimited and kind of agenderized, if you like, version of what our circumstances are, so that we can ask Source for information that will help us make informed choices. Because remember, it's about us being empowered to move our life forward in co-creation with, I call it Source, or it could be the universe, God, the divine, whatever resonates for you. And we've got 3 groups here for our question for today, which is what inner wisdom is ready to emerge as I step into the year with intention. At the time of recording, it's the start of February, so we're a few weeks into this new year, but I have designed this reading to be timeless, so should you pick it up years from now, different time of year, the intention is that this should still be meaningful. And what I would recommend is seeing if you can pick a group that you have a resonance with. So going from your left to right with that, green stone is number 1, the pink stone number 2, and the white stone is number 3. They are all crystals. Do I know the names of them all? Absolutely not. So I'm really happy for any guidance on that in the comments. See if you can pick one group if you are torn between 2 or more. See if you can put them in order. So just feel free to pause the video at any point to have a feel into that. Also, what you need to know about me, I don't make predictions. My clair is kind of a claircognizance, so occasionally I will get hunches or sensations or just these little intuitive nudges, and that's my gift. What I would really always recommend is this reading's for you. You can enjoy it any way you like, just to play it through for entertainment purposes, or you can do what I do, which is pause the video, have a look at the pictures. When we look at the guidebook entries, see if there are any phrases that jump out at you, and to make it your own, journal on it, refer back to it to see how things have gone. That's the way I tend to like using the tarot. So without any further ado, we'll jump in and start with Group 1's reading. Okay, so Group 1, we're back with your reading. So our question is, what inner wisdom is ready to emerge as I step into the year with intention? And we've got this gorgeous green crystal there, which I'll put to one side. So for this reading, we have 3 tarot cards, and we also have 2 oracle cards. I'm really excited in particular for the Seasons of the Witch Imbolc Oracle, because that's my newest deck. I've got the guidebooks on hand ready for us to discover more about those cards. I've also randomly allocated affirmations for each group as well, so it will be really interesting to see how they tie in with the reading. And my handwriting's not always the most decipherable, shall we say, so I will be putting the text of each affirmation on Instagram as well. So without further ado, let's have a look at these tarot cards. And our question is, what inner wisdom is ready to emerge as I step into the year with intuition? So we have the Page of Cups. We have the Ace of Cups. Oh, wowzers. Okay. And then we have our last tarot card is the 7 of Pentacles. Okay. And then our oracle card is Snowflakes, which says every moment is a sacred gift, a blessing you shouldn't take for granted. Let me see if I can get these more or less in view there. Okay. And then we have, oh, this is saucy. We have Sex. And then we have, I honor my past experiences as lessons that shape my wisdom. Oh, I can't wait to get to that Sex card. very saucy. So, group one, let's get your tarot cards in view first. What really struck me as soon as I pulled this Ace of Cups together with the Page of Cups is, for me, this year already, the reckonings, the insights that you're having take on a strongly emotion-led theme. That's where we're going with just basic tarot understanding of the minor arcana, where that's the part of the tarot that's split into those more everyday themes within our life, where the major arcana is more determining the more key significant life lessons or rites of passage stages that we go through, and the cups are the suit of the emotions, all that lovely watery energy, which you see if I just bring the Page of Cups and the Ace of Cups into view. Both of them have that sort of water vessel imagery to them. I mean, even down to the Page of Cups having the glasses, the frames shaped like fish. And you can see here this ace. I particularly love this deck, the Everyday Witch Tarot. It's the one I use the most often. And the reason I love it so much is because you don't really have to know tarot to understand the meaning of the card. So like I said, as I go through, feel free to have a pause and write down any messages that come to you. But definitely, first off the bat, I'm really getting the sense that this is really keying into emotions and an understanding of that side of yourself this year. Then we pulled the Seven of Pentacles, and that is definitely a different energy. Pentacles are the practical, tangible things we have in life. So, you know, our income, the practicalities of day-to-day life. And the Seven of Pentacles, it's that sort of, I feel it's like that sort of decisive point within each suit where there's a resolution or an ambition or a decision that needs to be made. And in this image, you can see here this very glamorous looking lady in front of these posters. And when you see her there, she's obviously been busy because she's starring in this role. She's this new sensation. She's put the hard work in. She's a new sensation, so she's not, you know, one of these people who's established in their field, but they're certainly doing the hard work. They're certainly trying to get there. Sorry, that's going a bit out of focus, isn't it? So she's definitely trying to get there. She's putting in the work. So she's on a really good trajectory. She's just not quite where she wants to be yet. Okay. So I will come back to your oracle cards later, but let's dig a bit further into these tarot cards. So I feel that the message from this that I'm getting is that the wisdom that you're seeking at this point is largely related to your emotions and largely related to that inner work you're doing. It could be around being more present with your emotions, gaining a better understanding of them. The page in the tarot is the card that is the first of the 4 court cards, and sometimes in the tarot it can indicate a person, like a young person, a child, or say a young student. I do see them more as that energy of starting on a journey, a learning journey, being open, being excited, new ideas, especially with the Ace of Cups, where the ace is the starting point on a journey. And that is really beautiful. Really, there's a lot of energy of sort of new beginnings. And whether you are single or in a relationship, I do genuinely believe that it's our relationship with ourselves that's often the most complex, and yet the lifelong relationship that we have. So I'm very much reading this in the context of that relationship with yourself. But it could be that the relationship, it for some of you, it might mean that you're sinking into a newer understanding of somebody else, either within a relationship or one unfolding. But I do want to very much focus on that relationship that you have with yourself, because I really believe that that's the one that we have the most control over, and the one that we have the most potential to affect positive change, because our society does not allow us to be fully remembering the unconditional love and acceptance that we had for ourselves and for the world when we were born. It taught us to, especially as a woman, I feel like society and our upbringings pitted us against each other, made us competitive, made us suspicious, made us wary. We'll all have our own life experiences to bring to this. And especially with the affirmation being, I honor my past experiences as lessons that shape my wisdom. I'm getting a hunch here, that intuitive nudge there, that I think it's important to take those experiences and use this time to reflect on them and have a think about, are there commonalities? I did this exercise a few months ago where I drew a timeline. So, the very left of the page was birth, and then the arrow was where I am now. And I did a sort of a charting of key emotional life events that had happened and the effect that had on me. And you might see different themes within that. One of the themes that came up for me was betrayal. So that's something that I definitely need to look at. Well, I have felt betrayed by people at various points in my life. Where can I ensure that I'm not betraying myself? How can I ensure I'm being authentic to myself? And it will be different for each of you. I share these examples not to project, but just to give you an idea of what's possible for you if you feel able and willing to sit down with the emotions and the experiences from your past. And that will be unique to each of you. Oh, you know what? I'm dying to get to this sex card, but before that, let me get the snowflakes card and interview as well, because I do want to find out more about that. Okay, let's have a look. Number 40, snowflakes. I'll just get the guidebook interview. Feel free at any point to have a pause over it. So, snowflakes, keywords: enjoying life, not missing special moments, and not taking things for granted. And then, as we said, the little caption on the bottom of the card was, every moment is a sacred gift, a blessing you shouldn't take for granted. I just want to go back to these cups cards, because that energy of really feeling into how blessed you are, how loved you are, how supported you are, that's also a really lovely message that those cups cards really enforce to me. As well as on this Seven of Pentacles, this particular depiction, I mean, this is surely a moment of blessing, being able to say that you're starring in a role and to be celebrated for that. It gives me that sort of Six of Wands energy almost, where you're being celebrated and you're allowed to celebrate this exciting step in your progress. So there is also that undercurrent there that the snowflakes card really brings us to really celebrate ourselves, and to really sink into the fact that we have these beautiful blessings in our life, and to be awestruck and to really cherish them. I think that's gorgeous. So, okay, let's go on to the rest of the guidebook entry. So, this card is here to question whether or not you have made time to enjoy the fruits of your labor. The thing to ask yourself when receiving this card is, what have you been missing out on lately? Is it time with family and friends? Or perhaps you can't remember the last time you actually enjoyed a meal rather than rushing through one. Take note of your first thought and make an effort to nurture this area of your life. What comes to mind when pulling this specific card is no accident and requires your attention. You might be thinking there's time for that later, but be mindful not to take things for granted. You might bail on a friend one too many times, or miss the chance to see the glaciers before they're gone for good. The only sure thing you can count on is that things can change in an instant. This card warns you that you're in danger of overlooking something very important. It may seem small to you, but it could make or break your relationship or chance with someone else. That was certainly that call for mindfulness within our relationships with other people, and also a loving reminder to not let life pass us by, which is also a really beautiful piece of inner wisdom to take into the year. I'm in the Northern Hemisphere. Well, as you can probably tell from my accent, I'm in Merseyside in the UK. And we are in the middle of seeing the seasons changing. At time of recording, we're just past the darkest weeks of the year, and just the sense of that daylight coming through. We've had some warm days, coming back home and you're not in darkness, seeing a rainbow as I drive home from work. They're just, seeing frost covering everything and just giving it this beautiful sort of frosted glow. It's just, there's just so many things that if we're in a state of unease or restlessness, they could just pass us by. And then the guidebook entry very much takes us to that. I do want to bring the card up because I think the artwork is incredible. And also some of us might have symbolism attached to the beautiful characters on this page. So you've got this image of these two companions here where one is pulling the sled here. You've got these candles, the reindeer, snowflakes, swan-like creatures. I don't think swans can fly, but the sun, the stars, there's all sorts of beautiful things there that might have resonance for people. So let's put that to a side and let's bring sex into play. So sex is from the absolutely gorgeous Sacred Self-Care Oracle. And I do have the guidebook ready, but I just want to pause for you to appreciate this beautiful image, taking in the colors, the symbols, again, making a note if there's anything there that has a resonance for you. And then I will also get the guidebook entry for us to have a read through. Just flicking to it now. Okay, let me bring this card up here as well. Okay, so we have got, our mantra is, I'm experiencing the cosmic orgasm. Well, first of all, before I start reading, I've just seen the word well, and that really, I will read the reading, but that really ties in for me with the Ace of Cups, the way that this cup is overflowing, and it, through the overflow there, if you can see, it's creating a space right there, see, at the bottom of the card, where that's actually causing plants to be able to spring up and grow, and the cat's finding hydration from actually drinking that overflow, as well as the serenity on her expression. I just think this card is absolutely stunning. Let's get back to the guidebook entry for sex. There is a deep well of joy, bliss, and healing available to us through sex when it is treated as a sacred experience of divine union. To achieve the deepest states of pleasure and connection, we must have an open heart and body, trust, and be able to hold the frequency of pure presence. Tune into your body's innate wisdom to uncover what kind of sexual experience or lover you would like to call in. Through this reflection, acknowledge your sexual history and be honest with yourself about any limiting beliefs, blocks, or trauma you need to work through. If there's a lot to unpack here, you may need to seek the support of a professional. As you grow comfortable experiencing your own body and your lover's body, as well as expressing your unique essence, desires, and emotions, you will find additional layers of pleasure. Sex is one of the most incredible ways to cultivate your potent life force energy, also known as Kundalini or Shakti, which you can channel into all areas of your life. There is a journal prompt. What kind of sexual experience would you like to call into your life? So they use experience there and drawing on your experience, which again puts this card into play. And I think also understanding that, again, many of us will have grown up in cultures that are not sex positive, where we've had to put together the pieces ourselves. We've had to go on a journey of exploring our own sexuality, and some of us our own gender identity, and putting the pieces of that together, sometimes on our own, sometimes on the background of cultures that are very repressive, where we don't have the ability to speak openly or freely, and we don't have the opportunity to be open about things like bodily autonomy and consent, and feeding that in to this card, the sex card, where when I see these colors, I see an all-encompassing, because there's so many different spectrums of the color there, and an all-encompassing of all parts of ourselves, the parts that, we might deem presentable to other people, but also the parts of us, the color of that underwear is dark, those sort of deep dark recesses within ourselves. And that's what this card, in the context of the guidebook entry, says to me. It's about reclaiming all parts of ourselves, because the ideal is that we use that, if we bring the Page of Cups in, as this onward learning journey, and then we get to a place where we're so emotionally so nourished and full. And in England we say, oh, you're so full of it, you're so full of yourself. And actually, I do want us to be full of ourselves in a different way to that statement being intended. I want us to be full of ourselves in a sense of full of love and full of contentment and full of acceptance for the parts of ourselves that aren't the parts that we would choose to necessarily show to people, the parts that we've been told are ugly or unlovable or unworthy. Because if we can be full of that sense of joy and contentment, we've got an opportunity then for that to overflow. And when our cup overflows, Lisa Nichols, who's an incredible motivational speaker, said, don't fill people from your cup, fill them from the overflow. And that's what this character in this card is doing. Their cup is overflowing, and as a result, it's nourishing everything and everyone around them. So that's where we want to get to. That's the goal. But the journey is the thing. The journey is the thing that is the process, and that process is going to be different for all of us. I am going to wrap up there, Group 1. I would love to know if any of this has resonated with you. Feel free to come back to this reading and watch it in your own time. And yes, I will see you on the next reading. Welcome, my lovely Group 2, to your reading. So our question for today is, what inner wisdom is ready to emerge as I step into the year with intention? So at time of recording, it's February and the seasons are changing. We can feel that spring is close. So it's very much this sense of the year has started and we're on this journey. Let's see where we're going. However, this reading is meant to be timeless. So should you pick it up at a completely different time of year, the intention is that there should be something here that will speak to you. And let's see your crystal. So this beautiful pink crystal. Again, I would be very grateful for information on what this crystal is. I made the decision to store all my crystals together without their labels, which was not the cleverest move, but I just couldn't help but be drawn to these beautiful pink colors. So let's put that aside. Let's start with your tarot reading. So we have got the 8 of Swords. We have got the Fool. And we have, oh wowzers, 2 Major Arcana cards, group 2, and we've got Temperance. Okay, and I'm also going to pull your oracle cards as well. I was saying to group 1, I'm super excited about this next card deck that we're pulling from Seasons of the Witch Imbolc Oracle. At time of recording, we've just had Imbolc and I couldn't resist using it. So we have got Sacred Space, and it says, mundane to eyes not of my own, these sacred responsibilities are mine to embrace. It's a good lesson for us all. I'll need to remember that next time I am trying to shirk the housework. And then this card is from the Sacred Self-Care Oracle, and it's number 8, Chanting. And then we have an affirmation, which I will read out because my handwriting is not always easy to decipher. And these will also be, the text of them will also be on my Instagram page, Lofty Questions Tarot, or one word. I give myself permission to grow and evolve at my own pace. Okay, we'll pop that there. So, you don't have to read tarot to know that this picture doesn't particularly fill you with a sense of positivity. The person in the foreground is receiving this this notice, and they're in a classroom setting. It looks like a LL, and they're sort of face palming. They're like, oh God, what is this? It's that feeling of dejection. You know, almost all of us will have been through an education experience where we will have had ups and downs, and this certainly in this context feels like a down there. The swords are one of the suits in the minor arcana, and they're to do with our mental processes, the way we think about things. So you will sometimes see them represented by birds. Rather cleverly, they've put the swords on the world map there behind us. So we will come back to that. I do just want to explain to you why I was so excited about seeing 2 cards from the Major Arcana in your reading group 2. So remembering that our question is, what inner wisdom is ready to emerge as you step into the year with intention? And here you've got a double whammy of 2 cards from the section of the tarot that deals with those major life themes or transitions or realizations that we have, and both with 2 quite different messages. And actually, the tarot starts with this card. The tarot starts with the Fool. And I feel like the Fool is probably, I don't really like the connotations of the Fool, you know, especially after seeing this card of the student who's receiving a notice of something that's making them feel disappointed or dejected, because some of us will have gone through experiences in a schooling setting where we would have been called negative words. And so what I do want to clarify is, in my understanding of the tarot, the Fool doesn't mean a fool as in, you know, an idiot. It's more somebody who's just unaware of what they're getting themselves into. So as you can see in this image, you've got this witch here. By the way, this is my favourite all-time deck, the Everyday Witch Tarot. And I just love it. And because I find that it's so entry level, if you don't know tarot, I really love this deck because you can just tell what's going on from the picture. At any point in the reading, feel free to pause this and make a note of any symbols or parts of the image you can see on screen that have a resonance for you. So as you can see in this picture, the witch is on a broomstick, yes. There are birds flying in the background. It's a very high cliff. You can see there's water below, and they're cheering. They're taking a step off, but you can tell that they're not going to have something to step onto. In a traditional deck, there's also a dog in this picture. The Fool has a bag. In the tarot card here, it's a cat rather than a dog. And it's that sense of the dog almost trying to warn this person, look, hang on, watch your step, watch where you're going. But the Fool's sort of blissfully unaware of that, and they're like, oh yes, I'm so excited about going on this journey. Now our hope is that the fact that they're on a broomstick will save them, and they'll be able to realise their mistake in time and fly off. But sometimes in life we take these chances and we're impulsive, and sometimes we'll land on our feet, sometimes we'll be saved by situations, sometimes we won't be so lucky. So in the context of thinking about the inner wisdom that the Fool can give us, it is that sense of being open to new experiences. It's just also a case of looking before you leap, and just having an awareness of your surroundings. It is a call to give into that impulsive, adventurous side, but it's also, I would also say, just be a bit more aware of your surroundings than this Fool, because I would want you to land on your feet. I would want you to be safe. And then we've got the Temperance card here. Again, this deck is beautiful. I pulled this because we've just, at the time of recording, just had the Grammys and we're in awards season. So I thought it'd be nice to use this Tinseltown Tarot. So we've got Temperance here. Temperance again is standing in water. They are pouring from one martini glass to the other, looking very, very glamorous. The Hollywood Hill sign is in the background, the clouds, the sunrise. And temperance is another word for balance. So it's about keeping things in balance, which is interesting with, if I can grab hold of it, the chanting card there, where there's this element of balance. So in the Everyday Witch Tarot, the character in Temperance is doing yoga reading, for example. So that's why I like these two cards together. When we see the Temperance in the context of wisdom, it is that sense of balance, which I think, going back to the Eight of Swords, I feel like almost Temperance would want to say to the Eight of Swords, we just need to adjust your perspective a little bit, because I know things seem really difficult now, but let's get some redress in there. Let's redress the balance a little bit and see what's going on. I just paused there briefly because I wanted to get the guidebook entry in of the Eight of Swords. So in the tarot, when you see a depiction of the Eight of Swords in a more traditional Rider-Waite deck, it's an image of somebody, and they're basically on an isolated beach. They're blindfolded and they're like, their hands are tied basically, but the tie is loose. I will grab my Everyday Witch Tarot and pull the card to show you, but I also was really curious to see what Real Talk Tarot actually had in their guidebook for the Eight of Swords. And I always strongly encourage reading guidebook entries for each new deck you get, because they'll always have like a little inference on it that's really interesting, where there's the universal truth of the tarot and the widely accepted meanings, but they'll have a nuance on it. So I do have that to share with you. But certainly there is that feeling of feeling constrained by your circumstances, but actually you do have more power than you realize. And that in itself is a good piece of solid wisdom to take into the rest of this year. So let me get this guidebook entry up as close as I can. Sometimes my focus does go, but I'll keep an eye. So, Eight of Swords, doing a bad job at the wrong job. Oh, this is, this unfortunately will be relatable, I'm certain, to some of us at least. The upright card shows feeling trapped. There's problems in career and the intellectual or mental realm. It may feel impossible to do satisfactory work due to unreasonable demands or disorganized management. You're under pressure to conform. Release yourself from these bonds. Swallow your pride and ask for support. You may feel humiliated or ignored. An additional meaning is illness and incapacity. Outside of permanent disability, this is a phase of physical restriction. Wow, that's a barrel of laughs, isn't it? But in all seriousness, I think what I would say is, with regards to the Eight of Swords, is that life is a series of ups and downs, and there is a process of circumstances being influenceable. You know, there will be ways we can influence our circumstances. I'm not encouraging people to give up a job that they aren't maybe inspired or fulfilled by, you know, on the spot. It might be a transition process out of that. It might be doing something within your spare time that actually does give you fulfillment. So I know that people can use the proceeds from their job to then finance something that they actually really would love to do for a living, or something that does light them up. Giving back to people in a volunteering, whether that's your time or by donating money, or mentoring people, being able to be supportive to family members and friends. All those things are things that can help to lift this feeling of, you know, I'm a square peg in a round hole and I just feel like I'm not winning in life. I think the other thing is not to feel that other people's highlight reels are a true reflection of their life as well. To really understand that for some people who are watching this reading group too, some of you will be going through feelings like this. But just to know that what happens in one sphere of your life, yes, a sphere where you may spend a significant, and quite a lot of us would say, you know, not as many, you know, we wouldn't want to spend as much time at work as we do. But we might spend a lot of time at work, but it's not the thing that defines us, or school, or, you know, we are more than our circumstances, and we just have to be honest with what's within our influence, what can we work towards, what's the ideal situation, are there some middle steps we can take to that. I'm a firm believer in getting them down on paper as well, and thinking, well, what's the ideal, what's doable, what commitments are non-negotiable. You know, some of us are parents, some of us are carers, some of us have families we need to support. So there's things that we do need to think about, but there will be some leeway. We just have to be open to it. It is that sense of balance that's creeping in there for me. I do want to come back to your oracle cards next. And where was that affirmation? I'll find it. Yes, here we are. I give myself permission to grow and evolve at my own pace. I think that is so important in the context of what we've said there. To hold some grace, and to if a dear friend was in our situation, what are the kind and loving, supportive things we'd say to them? You know, we'd say, I know things are hard at the moment, but you're more than your work situation. You mean so much to me. You make me smile. You light me up. You're the person I can come to, who I know will never judge me. You know, you're the person I can have fun with, and I can really be myself around. And what monetary value can you put on true friendship? You know, so you're so much more than what your situation may be, or your level of feeling trapped within a situation may be. So let's get the guidebook entry out for sacred space and have a look at that. I just adore the pictures. While I'm getting that out, I'll just show you that one more time. Again, feel free to pause at any time to have a little look at the entries there. And then I'll be flicking this. One more page over. Okay, this is over a double page spread, so I will turn this over. But we've got here sacred space. So our keywords are mundane tasks, gaining control over life, and a need for practicality. So the affirmation on the card is, mundane to eyes not of my own, these sacred responsibilities are mine to embrace. So I'm just going to turn that over and pop this card down. Okay, and again, feel free to take a screenshot of this if I can just get it into focus for you. There you go. So it says, sacred doesn't always mean extraordinary. grand ceremonies are preceded by small, often boring labours that come together to create a masterpiece. While these small duties are often overshadowed in the grand scheme of things, they're ultimately what fuels the beautiful side of life. There is powerful magic and healing in putting in the hard work now so you can play later. Consider saving money for a quality purchase down the road rather than splurging on things that might break or fall apart quickly. Staying in and working on a project instead of going out, or compromising now for the long-term health of your relationship. When this card comes up, it may be time to be more reasonable, responsible, or practical in your endeavours. If you're seeking to gain more control over your life or situation, or are failing to receive desired results. Sorry, I just want to get that back in. This really reminds me of this. When this card comes up, it may be time to be more reasonable, responsible, or practical in your endeavours. If you're seeking to gain more control over your life or situation, or are failing to receive desired results, then you're urged to shift your focus from glamorous expectations and start seriously investing the time and effort needed to create the rewards you desire. Certain tasks or engagements may not be fun, but are necessary all the same if a successful outcome is desired. That's teachable for so many of us, especially in this culture of social media. I mean, you're watching this reading via social media, aren't you? But it's such a double-edged sword. It really is. It can be a key to exploration, education, and connection, and it can also really be a key to self-deprecation and to isolation and discontentment, dissatisfaction, and disheartenment, can't it? And it's up to us to see that openly, to open our eyes to that, to be aware of the pitfalls with that, and to seek balance to our situation and to give ourselves permission to grow and evolve. So the last card, group 2 of your reading, is chanting. And again, have a little pause to see what has a resonance to you. Some of you here may practice different aspects of yoga. So remember, yoga is not just about what we do on the mat or in class. It's a way of life. My knowledge is not massive in terms of yoga, but I understand there's at least 8 elements to yoga, one of which is non-violence, and bringing that into our context of handling ourselves and being and showing ourselves kindness and compassion is so important. So let's have a look at the guidebook entry for that. Okay, lovely. Let me get this into view so you can take a screenshot. Okay, so the mantra is "My voice is heard," and it says if you're new to chanting, you can start to learn to tone and the sound for each chakra. At first, practice chanting on your own to gain a level of comfort. So you've got the crown chakra and the third eye chakra, which is Om, the throat chakra, which is Ham, heart chakra, Yam, solar plexus chakra, Ram, sacral chakra, Vam, and root chakra, Lam. Experiment with different tones, noticing which ones come easily or feel challenging. Free yourself from worrying about how you sound. Allow your unique voice to resonate and express itself. When you're ready to go deeper and experience the sensation of chanting in a group, look for local singing, chanting, or kirtan events. Most yoga studios will include chanting as part of the practice, typically at the beginning or the end of the class. You can also pioneer the effort within your community and gather some loved ones who are willing to chant with you. This activity is especially fun to try in an enclosed space that has a loud echo or outside surrounded by beautiful nature. So for those of us who journal, there is a prompt here. What blocks, real or imagined, prevent you from chanting? What practical steps can you take to eliminate these blocks? I also just get this nudge that there's chanting on the surface, there's this literal expression of reverberating the vibration of the sound coming up through our throat, feeling it in our heart, as you can see really from this picture, using our breath and using that connection. And there's also for me a more sort of figurative form where what is standing in the way of us feeling like we can express ourselves and we can feel authentic and feel free within that. So group 2, a really interesting reading. Certainly things that are insightful there. I think things that are also reflective of the realities of the challenges of many people's lived experience currently. And I would be really interested to know if any of this has resonated for you. I'm in solidarity with you wherever you are on your life path. I'm sending you so much love, and I'm really interested to see what comes up for you in further readings that we do on the channel. Remember, you can come back to them at any time to gain further insights or just watch them for entertainment purposes. So I'm sending you so much love, and I'm signing off for now. Hello group 3, welcome back to our reading for this week, and our question is, what inner wisdom is ready to emerge as I step into the year with intention? So at time of recording, we're in the Northern Hemisphere in Merseyside in the UK, and the darkest days have finished. There's more daylight. We see the season starting to shift. We've just passed Imbolc, and I've got this gorgeous oracle to share with you from Seasons of the Witch, which is my newest deck. I'm super excited about it. And you can watch these readings just for entertainment purposes. You can use them for your own practices. I personally journal my readings, and I also play along with these readings. So I have this is the group that I felt the most drawn to. But to ensure that I didn't influence that, I always pick that ahead of picking the reading. So I'm discovering this new with you, and I'm going to go back and watch it as a viewer in my own time so that I can see what resonates for me and reflect on that. I have a handwritten affirmation in each group, and my handwriting's not the best, so I will be sharing them on my Instagram page after each reading so that you can go back and screenshot it from there if you wish. So we've got this beautiful stone white crystal, which again, I'd be so grateful if somebody can tell me what it is, because I haven't stored my labels for each crystal with the crystal. I've just stored them by colour together. So that was not the best thing to do, but I would love if somebody could tell me what this is. I was drawn to it immediately because of just the beautiful matte colour with these little quartzy glints in it. So I'll put that to the side. So this reading will be 3 tarot cards, 2 oracle cards, and an affirmation. So let's get your tarot cards out first. So we have got the Queen of Swords. So we're thinking again, what inner wisdom is ready to emerge as I step into the year with intention. We've got the 10 of Wands. That person does not look too happy there, do they? We'll come back to that shortly. And then from the Tinseltown Tarot, we have got, my focus is a bit off. Can you see that? The Knight of Wands. Okay, let's pop that down. I think I probably just brought it up a bit too high there because it looks much better there. And then from the Seasons of the Witch Oracle, we have got Dawn, slow it down, move slower still, become the witness swelling in presence. That is beautiful. See if we can make some room for you. Okay. And then from the Sacred Self-Care Oracle, we have got, oh wowzers, look for fairies. Oh, that is beautiful. And then your affirmation group 3 is, each day I become aligned with my purpose and truth, which is also very beautiful. So let's start with these tarot cards then. So you have got 2 court cards. You've got the Queen of Swords and you've got the Knight of Wands. You've got 2 Wands cards. You've got the 10 of Wands and the Knight of Wands. And you also have a Swords card. So if you've watched through this, you'll have heard me explain some of this, but basically the tarot is made up of 2 parts. You've got the Major Arcana and the Minor Arcana. The Major Arcana deals with significant key life lessons or themes or sort of spiritual stages of evolution that we go through, significant life lessons. And then the Minor Arcana deals more with the more day-to-day events of our life, the things that are still significant, but not quite so deeply, not quite so fundamentally. And then you've got the quartz cards in each reading. So there's the King, Queen, Knight, and Page. So here you've got the Queen of Swords, so second to last from the sword suit, and then you've got the Knight of Wands there. And we're thinking in terms of inner wisdom and insights. And I do want to start with this 10 of Wands because you don't have to know the tarot, and this is why I love this deck so much. You don't have to know the tarot to know that this 10 of Wands is really struggling. They are carrying 10 broomsticks and they've got their cat on their back and they're climbing up this steep slope, no support, the ground's rough. I mean, for those of us who do occasionally go hiking or climbing, this is not easy terrain with, just with your normal supplies, but with these cumbersome broomsticks, you just get a feeling of how exhausting that is. And that is very much that 10 of Wands energy there, where it's just this feeling of being overburdened and alone in that, not being able to feel supported or delegated. And it's important for us in the context of this question group 3 for us to have a look at, well, where are we feeling this? Where are we really feeling this sort of energy of, I've got to do this all on my own and I can't get support. I can't drop this burden. It's mine to carry. It's mine alone. Is it something in our lives? Is it something physical? Are we dealing with a health concern? Are we dealing with looking after an unwell relative or child? It could be so many things. It could be a deadline at work that is looming and you're just feeling really like, I just wish I could just, hit the timeout button on my life, go and have a week in a retreat and just come back and feel a bit like more prepared to take on what I'm dealing with. And so I do have solidarity with anybody who's feeling like that at the moment. And what I would say in terms of the insight from this really is there somebody who can help, or is there a way you can make this load lighter? Is there parts of that project, for example, that could be delegated, or could the deadline be extended? Is there leeway? How can you be kinder to yourself? We're only human. I was talking to a colleague who's got a lot on their plate at the moment, and it's like it's coming from all angles. It's work, it's family, and we can only cope with so much at a time, and life goes in peaks and troughs, and it feels like group 3 for some of us, we're in a bit of a trough at the moment where we're just having to deal with something. But I would really hope that you can get the support that you deserve with that. I'll then come on to the Queen of Swords, and I'm also going to bring the Knight of Wands into view as well, because when you put, this is something I like to do when you have characters within a reading and you're looking at the way they're facing. I do like looking at that. So, for example, the Ten of Wands is looking across at the Queen of Swords, and that Knight of Swords is looking across. Oh, sorry, beg your pardon. The Knight of Wands is looking across as well. And then I like picking them up and thinking, I like thinking of this Knight of Wands offering this rose out to the Queen of Swords, and the Queen of Swords is saying, "Oh, go away." But let's get back to the Queen of Swords. So the Queen of Swords there is holding up the knife above her head and almost ready to kind of bring it down, a bit like, bringing it down in a way to cut very, very firmly, very decisively down. You can imagine the force that will come down with that knife coming down. And that is the way I actually think of the Queen of Swords. I think of her as a card of cord cutting. She's like my cord cutting card. So when we think about this question, what inner wisdom is ready to emerge as you step into the year with intention, group 3, it could partly be maybe not cord cutting in the more traditional sense of people or situations. It could be related to this, what parts of this feeling of burden can be cut loose, cut away. I used to work in a surgical job, and we'd have this thing called debridement, where you basically cut away anything that's pretty much dead or dying, in order for what's new and what's healthy to thrive. Sometimes you do need to cut away the stuff that shouldn't be there. So I think that's really important. That's why it's interesting to see the Queen of Swords against the Knight of Wands, where, as you can really tell, the wands are part of the minor arcana that are to do with our creative energy, our kind of get up and go, that fiery sort of energy. And then, so it's already a kind of a quick paced energy. And then you add the knight onto that, which again, the knight, whenever you see a knight in the reading, it just accelerates everything. So again, with that 10 of Wands, it really makes me think this is a situation that feels like it's picking up pace or accelerating. Sorry about the focus there. I think that's a bit better, isn't it? So, so the Knight of Wands, you see him in this card, this sort of Casanova energy, this impulsive lover sort of energy, the kind of situation where it just really accelerates and that kind of like hot, dangerous, risky sort of energy there. And I think this is something that could actually be really fun. I think just as long as we're aware of what we're getting into, it might not be a literal person. It might be that it's more the situation, it could be some of us are going, say, traveling, where we're going to lots of different places, we're meeting people, or we're embarking on a new endeavor where there's just a lot going on at once, but it's really exciting and really satisfying. And there's definitely, that is to be enjoyed, that's to be reveled in. And, if that's you, group 3, I'm, congratulations and enjoy it. But just be aware, I think, is what I would say on the background of the cards that it's with, that we just don't want to get to a stage where we hop impulsively into a situation that then proves to be burdensome or challenging. So what I would say is, even if you're not in this energy now, just pay attention to anything you might want to jump into that could end up being a bit more than what you'd bargained for. And do not at any point hesitate to extricate yourself from a situation or to relieve the sort of stagnant or sort of dead energy around it. If if that is called for, it could be, stepping away from situations or people that you don't feel support you or are healthy as well. Obviously, it's very important to do this in a way that's safe and to seek advice from people in your own life that you trust. And it comes back to this, really. Each day I become aligned with my purpose and truth. I feel like life is a journey of understanding ourselves better and dismantling the things that we've been raised with and conditioned with in a bid to be able to be authentic to who we are, to live with the parts of ourselves. I said this in another group, I think group 1, to live with the parts of ourselves that may not necessarily be acceptable to other people, but to know that they are valid and they are worthy. Oh, I'm dying to get to these two. Let's have a look at these. So we've got Dawn, slow it down, move slower still. So I like that actually with the Knight of Wands, where it's just encouraging. Don't let yourself be swept away with that Knight of Wands energy to the point where you forget what's important for you. Bring that redress and balance in. Move slower still, become the witness swelling in presence. I mean, what an incredibly beautiful phrase that is. I'm just going to leave that card there a sec so that you can appreciate how beautiful the artwork is, but also what it makes you feel. Do any of the situations I've described in these cards that we see, do they remind you of things in your life? I will get the guidebook entry out for that because I do want to read that to you to see if that has any insights. And feel free to pause this at any stage and have take a screenshot of it, or feel free to journal on any of the phrases that really stand out to you as well. Okay, so we have got Dawn. That probably looks better in focus a bit further down, so that's fine. So again, feel free to take a screenshot of this. So Dawn, keyword stillness, focusing on the self and presence. So we've got slow it down, move slower still, become the witness swelling in presence. There is great intelligence and stillness in which you're free to disconnect from the noise and chaos of everyday life. You're being asked to look past your need to be productive, choosing instead to stand still, be at ease, and take solace in doing absolutely nothing. This is your time to rest and reflect. Listen to your spirit, asking what it needs in this moment to be honored and fulfilled. Do you truly need to take action right now? Or is that your ego giving you a false sense of urgency? Are you keeping yourself busy to avoid looking too closely at feelings that are attempting to bubble over? What would happen if you allowed yourself to feel the truth of your emotions rather than trying to push them away? Receiving this card suggests you're ready to face things and heal them so you can find the truth of what's hiding underneath. Receiving this card may also mean time in solitude is a powerful healing method for you to embrace. Well, that gives us a new complexion really on this situation. So we've gone from this sort of energy of feeling, overburdened and wanting to simplify, wanting to get down to what's truly fundamental, taking this energy a little bit at face value, only taking the bits of that quick-paced energy that serve us, to now really completely switching gears and slowing it down. So it's not, in a way, I'm not surprised that actually this whole set of readings, there's not been necessarily the cards all aligning in one coherent message, because we've put out a really open call for wisdom. And what's interesting is life can hold more than one truth in complete, tandem. More than one thing can be true. Enjoying moments of impulsivity and letting ourselves be free and at times a bit frivolous and really in that energy of just taking a chance and seeing where it goes, but then also being able to really take those times to just draw back from things so that we can sit with them and allow our bodies to process them and to reflect. So that is so beautiful. And I'm going to finish it off on this little beauty. I mean, look at that card. just incredible. And I do still, I just love the concept of fairies. I just think that they're so beautiful. There's an incredible artist on Instagram called Proverbial Daisy, Sam did, and she makes the most incredible fairies. They're so beautiful, and I love seeing how she does that. So I mean, look for fairies could be literally look for a fairy, as in a fairy that you can bring into your home. But let's have a look at the guidebook entry for some more reckonings on that as well. So that's number 30. Again, the number 30 may have a significance to you. So here we are, let's get this into view. Okay, and again, feel free to take a screenshot of this as well for your own purposes. So keep your eyes and ears open for evidence of fairies and other ethereal beings. Remember, they're genuinely all around you, brimming with creative ideas and guidance to help you on your journey. You just have to tune into their presence. But first, you'll have to believe that they exist. Whatever we focus on and put energy towards will shape our life experience. The magic surrounding us can typically be seen only by those who are in a state of joy, looking at the world through the eyes of a child, and open to infinite possibilities. Soften your gaze when you're out in nature, and keep aware of what you can spy in your peripheral vision. You may just see fairies playing in the sunshine and by flowing water. If you whisper to them from within, they'll often whisper back with a cheeky little remark. Be kind and respectful to them, and they won't toy with you too much. And then we've got a journal prompt here. How do you think you can connect more with your childlike sense of wonder and keep open to life's infinite potential? That feels like it does actually bring together quite a bit from this reading, that last journal prompt, because life can sometimes physically but emotionally drag us down, and we can really forget that sense that is hinted at by the Knight of Wands, of this sense of awe, remembering what it used to be like to just discover parts of the world and just have that curiosity and awe, and how we bring that back. And sometimes for some of us it will be through really distilling down and getting very specific about what it is we actually want to remove or declutter in that process. So that is absolutely incredible. And I'll just finish off with having a look at our affirmation again. Each day I become aligned with my purpose and truth. Certainly by taking those steps of distilling down into what it is you want, what it is you can remove from your life to simplify and to get closer to what you want, what you can delegate, release, have some flexibility over. And for some of us, in this process, where are we being swept away, and what's acceptable about that, and what maybe just needs a moment of pause. So there's some really interesting strands of wisdom just to see how that unfolds for us over the course of the year, or whenever you're watching this. So group 3, I would really love to know if any of this has resonated for you, or what you're paying attention to from the reading now that you've seen it. I'm sending you all so much love, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in further readings. Take care.